Really uncovered and just a lot of just really messy situations that kind of shaped some of the bad parts of my heart, and then going back and addressing those with the gospel has been really freeing in the meantime. I'm Tim Malley. I'm from Wichita, Kansas. I sell pipeline repairs for a small manufacturer. I grew up in a very charismatic church, so a lot of my church experience was based on feeling and emotion, and I'm a very engineer-based mind, so that didn't connect with me very well. I felt very out of place when I couldn't speak in tongues and when people were having these very spiritual experiences and I felt kind of left out. Getting to college, I got involved in a campus ministry. It was very exciting because all of a sudden they gave me these things to do from a spiritual standpoint. So I went out. You're supposed to share your faith this many times per week. I hit that, felt good, patted myself on the back, moved on to the next item on the to-do list. So I felt good. I was starting to perform in ways that I couldn't when I was at the church I was growing up. But after a while, I started to find out that I couldn't live up to this list. So I hit rock bottom when I realized that I couldn't perform up to the standards that this organization had given me. I ventured to the complete opposite end of the spectrum. I was already in a fraternity because of the organization, so I just started partying. I didn't have the excuse if I'm not 21 to drink anymore. I got very involved in, I was probably drinking 5 nights a week as the reverse reaction to not being able to perform. It was just a really empty time. One of my close friends had started going to Redeemer Presbyterian, and we would have a lot of conversations kind of deep into the night, even on work nights, and we would talk about theology, we would talk about where we were at, and I don't know, I can't look back and figure out if I was ever really completely honest with where I was with him, but I think he could really tell I was struggling. And he invited me along to a group that kind of combined drinking, so the theology pub, with theology. And so it kind of connected me on a level where I was at. You know, by that point, I was burned on a charismatic church. I was burned on an organization that told me I couldn't perform to their standards. And the group that he was describing just sounded like a breath of fresh air. Getting involved in that group and starting to get to know Bo, he completely changed the way that I saw church. Like all of a sudden, church wasn't a place where I was getting a to-do list heaped on me. Instead, he was saying that Jesus had already accomplished the to-do list. There's nothing I could do above and beyond that. And that there were several times when I just couldn't believe how good this news was. It was extremely freeing. Like, I think that's the best way to put it. It's just amazing how far God's brought me, how far I've come from those times of realizing that, like, the to-do list and their performance and trying to perform because of approval, like wanting people to like me, not being comfortable in my skin. Like, the gospel can address me on all of those levels, and it definitely doesn't look perfect at all. You know, I've hit a lot of different really tough breaking points, but at least since then I've had the gospel to arm me and combat the lies of the enemy in those points. I'm Tim Malley, and that's how God reached me.